Oh, I'm live, and I honestly feel like I could have done this background situation better. Oh, geez. Oh, well. Um, this is, let's say, a test, a preliminary test to see how this goes. Well, if you're new here, I'm Jax. Welcome. Thanks for coming by. And I've decided to create a vlog because I keep being told to write a book or have, have a blog. And like technically I kind of have a blog, but like I just don't use it. It's not because the way that I write is very spontaneous. So I often end up writing what could be a blog post on Facebook or something like that, or like a long comment somewhere instead of just making it into a post. And maybe that's something I'll work on eventually, but right now I just don't feel like I have the spoons to plan that kind of thing. So I thought that just doing a vlog where I can just run my mouth off and not worry so much and then go back later and maybe edit or, you know, figure out or pull out like parts that are better than others or I don't know. Anyway, I just figured it might be easier this way. Sometimes I feel like when I'm trying to sit down and write, I just get writer's block or it's like my mind goes blank because I'm just like, okay, I have to do this thing and I have to translate the thoughts from whatever is up here in the brain into like the hands. And that feels like it's more distance to travel than from my brain to my mouth. So I guess this is, yeah, what I'm doing. And now that I've had like a minute of explanation of why I'm doing this in terms of the technical aspect, the explanation of why I'm doing it on a non-technical aspect, um, there's a little description of that in the about section of the video, I guess. But in short, this year, 2023, started off pretty strong in several ways. Uh, I was going into this year thinking that I was going to be in a relationship with this really awesome person that I had met around Christmas time. And I hadn't necessarily been actively looking for a relationship or a partner. I was, it was kind of something in the back of my mind that I was like, well, it'd be nice to have a life partner and do things together. If it happens, it happens. That's cool. Um, but I think what I didn't really understand or realize, and what I think has been really challenging for me for a long time, possibly like a solid decade or longer, is that I think I've been kind of actively in denial about the fact that I do genuinely want a life partner to share life with, I guess, because alone, I say alone because I've been thinking a lot about the concept of being alone with oneself and how oneself is, if you are with yourself, you are never alone. Um, and like this is something I've been thinking about from like a psychology perspective, especially when it comes to the idea of self-love and self-care and wanting a life partner and how we sort of seem to ignore the fact that we are a person too, that we are a self, right? Like, so it's like I could spend time with myself. I could choose to do that. And by and large, it's like I don't want to. And I think that's probably indicative of some sort of self-loathing or self-hate because it's like, why would I not want to spend time with myself? Whenever I think about that, I'm just like, ugh, no, I'd rather just be asleep or unconscious or just like not fully present than be with myself. But when I'm with someone else who I enjoy spending time with, it's like I can just be present and just be fully there with them and not have thoughts even sometimes, which for me is wild because I'm pretty much always thinking. But like, when I really have that strong connection with a person and feel comfortable and safe with them and trust them and just enjoy being with them, it's like I'm at peace. And I feel this feeling that I never feel when I'm alone, not even when meditating, because I'm not great at meditating, even though that's kind of my job. But among other things. But essentially, I I know. After all of the research I've done, after all the therapy I've had, after all I've been through, firsthand experience wise and like learning from other people and everything, I know now that um it's on me, to make the changes to if I want my life to be better and different, if I want to be healthy, and if I want to be a person who actually wants to live and is happy and excited to be alive, then I have to address the underlying beliefs, the feelings, the core feelings that I grew up with, that are telling me it's not worth living. It's not worth the effort. It's too much pain. It's too much work. All the things I'd have to do in order to get better. But why? For what? It and when you have these experiences where it's like you experience such joy and such happiness, and you're like, wow, is this real life? Is this actually how it could be? And and then it's gone. And then you're like, oh, right. That was just like a temporary fantasy. Like I was just, of course that wasn't real, or of course it wasn't going to last. And I'm sure that those thoughts are coming from, a negative working model of self. Like, well, of course it had to be terrible or it had to go south, right? Because that's all I ever deserve. So it's so annoying to like cognitively and consciously be like, I've worked through this, on that intellectual level, but on that deeper nervous level, the nervous system's already just imprinted or attuned to feeling certain feelings as a core feeling. And I have to literally rewire, reset the nervous system. And it is work. It when it comes to inherited and generational trauma, when it comes to cPTSD, when it comes to being born with cPTSD, it's not as simple as just doing some vagus nerve reset exercises, right? It's not as simple as just, doing the somatic practices alone. And it's not enough to just do the cognitive and behavioral practices alone. It's like you need all of them, and you need them all in a very specific way that is going to address your particular situation and what works for you. And for me, I've been struggling with what they're calling PDA, the pathological demand avoidance or pervasive drive for autonomy, which I like the second one better, as most autistic people do. um, but it's like so much of the advice I hear when it comes to PDAers is essentially like, just do whatever you want, just like not have anyone ever tell you what to do, just have no stress. And it's like, that's just not realistic though, like I need to brush my teeth, and I need to move my body, and I need to eat, and I need to sleep, and I need to do these physiological things at certain times in order to like not just maintain my health, but to get better. And I, if I have to be alive, I would rather be better than I am now. So it just like that advice is conflicting. Yet at the same time, whenever I try to force myself to do something, it's just like, haha, no, that's like no power in the verse will move us. And I'm like, ugh, how do I get past this? And so I've even been hiring caregivers to come and help me try to just get on a schedule or a routine, because I'm like, if I at least could follow a routine, then maybe that would help with just doing stuff or not doing stuff. Because like if I have an specially allotted time, and I'm like, aha, yes, this is what I do during these times, then I could possibly get into like this muscle memory kind of habit, place, which I've never really gotten there before. Like, I think there were a few times where I was close, but I think that for me, it's not like 41 days, or I don't know, 28 days. I don't know how many days, a certain amount of days they're saying that you have to do the thing every day and then it becomes a habit. I think for me, it's like months to years that I have to do a thing in order for it to become like muscle memory or habit. Like that is how resistant my neural networks are, and my weird level of cognitive rigidity, which doesn't have to do with like hearing new perspectives or new opinions about things. I'm like, I love that, but when it comes to me doing things differently on a daily basis, I'm like, no, doing things, no, why would I do that? So yeah, it's tricky, but essentially I feel like I'm running out of options. It's been like 3 years or longer now that I have been full-time pretty much prioritizing my mental and, just overall health recovery journey. Pretty much mental mostly. There was some physical health, like I went to a physical therapist. I was, trying to walk more, had some PT exercises recommended for like the fibromyalgia and physical pain and fatigue and stuff like that. But it's been so hard on the mental health level to get myself to do anything physically. So I'm still working on that. But essentially, I had this thought, and I don't know how it's going to work out yet. I'm still kind of playing with everything, hence this being kind of a test. Um, what I'm seeing is that I can talk for a long period of time, so that works out. To make it more accessible, I might want to put like those time stamps where people could skip ahead to things, or maybe like descriptions in the comments or something. But all of that sounds like a lot of work, and the spoon issue is still an issue. So we'll see what we see when we see. Um, yeah, I definitely am gonna have to like get a screen behind me or arrange things so it looks less chaotic. It is very distracting for me right now. So, but yeah, so I'm thinking also like, so the thing that I actually wanted to say here, and what I've been like kind of rambling about the past 10 something minutes, is just kind of like overall where I'm at, what I'm trying to do, like what's going on with me and what has been going on with me. And I'll try to make more structured videos about specific topics of things that I've been dealing with in my life. And I think that could be really helpful for me to get more organized in some areas, and then also to help explain to other people what I'm struggling with and what I need help with and things like that, because I keep getting asked that question. And often when I'm being asked that question, it's like I can't answer in the moment, because I'm like put on the spot and my brain shuts down. I'm just like, I don't know. I know I need help, but I don't know what I need help with, It's like, so I think that this could help with that. And also, it will help me with tracking my time a bit more. I don't I'm not an ADHDer, but I definitely have executive dysfunction. I don't necessarily have time blindness. Like I'm kind of always aware of the time, but I'm not necessarily aware of what I'm doing during certain times, because I just try to ignore what I'm doing because I'm typically not doing what I want to be doing anyway. And usually I'm just like, why am I not asleep? I want to be asleep. So, so what I'm thinking is that, when I wake up, I could do a short check in, maybe no more than 10 minutes. I'm letting this go on a little bit longer because it's kind of the first time I'm doing this, and I just kind of want to test and see how long it takes me to talk about certain things. I am very wordy. This maybe also can help me become less verbose and more concise. So that's also something, to be more precise and, uh, yeah, deliberate with my word choice. But anyhow, yeah, so I was thinking when I wake up, maybe I could do a vlog, a short check-in, just kind of like how I'm feeling. Do I remember my dreams? Because my dreams often can set the tone for the day if I like don't let them go. And I've got some issues with that, especially because my dreams are super vivid and like really real. So it feels as though that really happened. It's like a movie that I was in. So then I wake up and it's like I physically feel like I've been through whatever just happened in my dream. So it can be really hard. And so actually, now that I think about it, if that's the case, it would be helpful to do like some sort of grounding and like resetting exercises in the morning too, to be like, all right, we're going to like release whatever is stored in the body because of the dream, and ground, like send that energy into the earth, and then like just get a open, flowing energy for the day. But again, this is the whole, will I actually do it? We don't know. So if I'm vlogging, then I could be, maybe I could even make videos of me doing the things so that we know that I'm doing them. It could be very boring. This could not be for an audience, really. It's probably mostly for me. But I'm putting it out there just in case anyone does happen across it and be like, oh, that seems like a helpful idea. Or, oh, it's nice to see this person struggling with a lot of the same things that I am, because then I don't feel so alone and I can kind of like relate to them or something, so whatever, all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, and then probably one before bed, to do kind of the same thing where it's like, all right, so this is how the day went. This is how I'm feeling about it. Like, this is what I did. Here's a grounding, releasing, letting go of the day and, winding down for sleep kind of thing. I mean, it could make me feel less alone, and it could make me feel like, well, it's something to look forward to. These check-ins. I don't know why, but maybe it could help. So it's just an idea. I've had this idea before, and I've been deterred when it comes to following through for a lot of reasons. But I have a lot of social anxiety. I've got anxiety about being vulnerable and sharing myself and my life when I'm not in a good place. Because, like, who wants people to see them when they're not in a good place? Everyone wants to put their best foot forward and their best face forward, right? So it's hard. It feels like I'm humbling myself and I'm having to work through pride issues and things like that. But I'd rather be able to be humble and open and honest and authentic and truly reveal where I'm at and what I'm going through and what my struggles and challenges are and what kind of support probably would help and things like that. Just, on the basis of disability self-advocacy, on the basis of, like, spreading awareness of neurodivergence and chronic illness and mental illness. There's just so much misunderstanding, and people think that so many people are just lazy or not trying hard enough, and it's like, oh, we are trying so hard. We are trying way harder than you to just stay alive. So it's like, please just understand that, like, an internal war is being waged, and like, there are casualties constantly, and it is painful, and it is so hard to just wake up and get out of bed and want to keep going, and we have to find any way that we can do that. And for me, I value not externalizing my pain on other people. I value working through things on my own and trying to make choices that will help or bring healing and hope to the world and positivity instead of the reverse. So for me, my pain is largely just internalized, and there's just so much depression and collapse because of all of the anger that I had over my needs not getting met, not being able to be expressed, because I was like, anger isn't a healthy emotion because my dad was really angry, and, like, a lot of the people around me were really angry and not really taking responsibility for that or not really being aware of that, and it was hurting me. And so I was like, well, I don't want to do that to other people. So then I was just like, anger's off limits. And so anger internalized, depression, and I've basically been in a state of nervous collapse since I was like 12 or younger. Um, and I'm 33 now. So that's like 2 solid decades at least of being in like this state of um, nervous shutdown, really. And so it's really challenging for me to do much of anything. But yeah, I can get it into, like, what all of that means and explain how that kind of happens and develops and what can be done about that later, because this is kind of what I specialize in. But we're coming up to 20 minutes, and I don't want to go longer than 20 minutes today. So I think that this was a good first try. I'm sure the more that I do it, the better it'll be. Less awkward, I'll be less rambly, more focused. But I'm just trying to get comfortable with being on camera again, um, and just streaming again. So hopefully there'll be more of me soon. So thank you for stopping by, tuning in, listening, whatever. Much love.